Professor Sharp, could I ask you about my extra assignments?
Professor Weasley's asked that I give you some assignments to hasten your education. Nothing more to it, really. Once they're completed, return to me, and I shall know that you're ready to learn Diffindo.
That was it?
Revelio. Alohomora. Revelio. Alohomora. Revelio. Alohomora. Revelio. Revelio. Revelio.
You would be wise not to underestimate this student. Their aptitude for magic is beyond anything I've ever seen, and I've been teaching a long time.
It is a joy to have such a student.
It can be.
There you are.
I received your owl. I was able to speak with Lodgok, the goblin I mentioned before.
What did you learn?
He and Ranrock were close once, but they had a falling out.
You believe he can be trusted?
I believe he's trustworthy, yes. He seems sincere, and Serona Ryan trusts him.
Very well. Supposing he can be trusted, will he help us get to Ranrock?
I retrieved a stolen helm that he hopes to return to Ranrock in order to regain his confidence.
You have been busy. Let's hope your efforts result in our learning something about Ranrock's plans.
Lodgok did mention that Ranrock is searching for something, but he couldn't say what. Perhaps that helm will yield some answers.
Ranrock is searching for something. I feared as much. I've heard an unusual amount of activity, goblins and wizards, I surmise, when visiting my portrait at my castle.
Rookwood Castle?
My former residence, yes. That castle is also the location of your next trial.
You didn't see anything? Speak with anyone?
I did not. In fact, I did not make myself known. I only recently returned there and did not recognize nor trust anyone that I heard. I stayed out of sight so as not to tempt my portrait's destruction.
I'm sorry to tell you that Victor Rookwood, evidently your descendant, is a dark wizard in league with Ranrock.
My descendant? A dark wizard? I'm afraid we've no time to waste. Despite the obstacles that clearly await you, you must get to Rookwood Castle immediately. Not only is it the location of the next trial, it is home to a source of power that would be devastating in the wrong hands. I do wish we had the luxury of time. However, I do not doubt your abilities. Find my portrait there as soon as you can.
Very well, sir. I'm on my way.
Best of luck.
No time to waste. I'll meet you at Rookwood Castle.
Revelio. Revelio. Alohomora. Revelio. 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 Alohomora. Revelio. Revelio. Alohomora. Lumos. Revelio. 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 An astronomy table. Should prove useful once the sun's down. Revelio. Revelio. Alohomora. Revelio. Sendo. Confringo. Accio. Alohomora. Mine now, demiguise. Revelio.
I hate to see a creature get put down like that. But trolls have no business in Hogsmeade.
Revelio.
The pink Smedleys will always look upon you as a trusted...
Alohomora. Revelio. Alohomora. Revelio. Revelio.
glad you came.
Hello, Sirona. I received your owl. How are you?
Hello, my friend. Did you ever find Lodgok?
I did, thank you. We had a good conversation. He sends you his best.
Glad to hear it. I shan't ask for details of your little chat, and I'll refrain from telling you to be careful yet again. But I hope you will be, whatever your plans.
Of course. Your owl mentioned you're needing my help with something.
I do. I thought you might be just the person to do a favour for my friend Dorothy Sprottle in Upper Hogsfield.
I've actually met Mrs. Sprottle. I recently spoke with her about her friend, Claire Beaumont.
She's lovely. Her late husband Aidan was a friend of my father's. In fact, I'd stay with Dot and Aidan the summers I waited tables here as a student. I've seen her a few times since Aidan passed, but the pub's been so busy lately, I've not been as attentive as I'd have liked. I wonder if you might pop in and see her. She may need some help collecting ingredients for her supply of Wiggenweld potion. And you could retrieve something of mine in the process. A box, full of old letters and such.
Why did Mr. and Mrs. Sprottle have your box of letters after all this time?
It's one of a few that I had when I was young. Dot found it when she was clearing out a closet. Can't imagine what's in there. Probably terribly theatrical. The ramblings of a teenage witch and her friends. You're welcome to take a peek inside, if you do find it. To be honest, I'd imagine it contains some lovely memories.
Why does Mrs. Sprottle keep a supply of Wiggenweld potion on hand?
Dot's a skilled potioneer. She's been supplying travelling vendors with Wiggenweld potion. An ordinary precaution that has, unfortunately, become a necessity, what with Ranrock's loyalists disrupting the trade routes.
I'll try to go and see her when I can.
It would mean the world to me, and to Dorothy. Aidan was bringing the box of letters to me when he was taken ill. Dot can tell you where he might have dropped it. You'll find the hamlet just north of Hogsmeade. Please do give Dot my love.
Upper Hogsfield. Now, where to find Mrs. Sprottle? Nice to see you again, Mrs. Sprottle. Actually, Sirona Ryan asked if I'd come and see you.
Oh, dear Sirona, a gem. Has been for as long as I've known her.
She thought you might need help collecting ingredients for your Wiggenweld potion.
And she's correct. My darling Aidan used to collect Horklumps for me. Since he died, my supply has dwindled.
I'm sorry for your loss, Mrs. Sprottle.
Oh, thank you. Love of my life. A bit lost without him. If you wouldn't mind gathering some Horklumps for me, I'd be happy to compensate you for your time.
I can certainly try and find some for you.
That would be wonderful. I'm worried about the travelling vendors and would love to get them more Wiggenweld potion.
Sirona also mentioned that Mr. Sprottle was bringing her a box of letters when he fell ill.
Indeed he was. I'd almost forgotten. I stumbled upon it just before Aidan died. He was hoping to go through it with Sirona over a butterbeer or two. Those two were always like two bowtruckles in a branch. Aidan took ill when he was collecting Horklumps on his way to see her. He made it home, but I fear he dropped the box in the cavern. The cavern is in the hills just southwest of our hamlet. You can gather Horklumps and collect the box of letters there.
Sirona said she lived with you during the summers when she was at Hogwarts. What was she like?
Goodness. Well, she was almost exactly like she is now. Charming, good head on her shoulders, taking care of everyone. I can't tell you the fun we had when she and her friends would visit us during the year, all buzzing about, practicing charms. Talented group. Her friend Mirabelle was a genius in the garden. Learned it all from her muggle parents, if you can believe it.
Do you remember anything about the letters you put in the box?
Oh, of course. A few letters from some of her school friends. Some nice memories. I even included a letter Sirona had written to me when she was staying with us. Thought she might enjoy reading it. I know when I read writing from my youth, I'm always astonished at how much I've changed, and yet remain the same.
Thank you, Mrs. Spruttle.
Thank you. I'll be here if you are able to collect those hawk lumps. I, and the vendors I help, would greatly appreciate it.
This looks intriguing. This must be the cavern Mrs. Spruttle mentioned.
Oh, Ada, I hope
You haven't got a prayer.
My bite.
you may want to move.
Did I hurt you? Nice try.
Better have a look around, see if I can find that box of letters. Getting there. Just a few more hawk lumps to harvest. Almost there. One more hawk lump to harvest. That's all the hawk lumps for now. Mrs. Spruttle should be pleased. Either I'll have to fight that troll, or avoid it altogether. This must be Sirona's box of letters. I think that's everything. Sirona will be glad to have this back. I should find Mrs. Sprottle. She'll be glad to get these Horklumps. Confringo! Hello, Mrs. Sprottle. I have good news. I was able to harvest some Horklumps for you, and I found Sirona's box of letters.
Oh, thank you. How wonderful. The travelling vendors will be thrilled to replenish their stock of Wiggenweld potion. And Sirona will be delighted to have those letters. How kind of you. Now you be careful heading back to Hogsmeade.
I should take this box of letters to Sirona. She'll be glad to have it back. Hogsmeade.
But breaking into Alfred Lawley's home wasn't the brightest idea. Folk still talk about you taking down that troll in the village circle. You certainly made an impression.
Hello, Sirona. I have good news. I was able to provide your friend Mrs. Sprottle with some Horklumps for her Wiggenweld potion, and I found your box of letters.
Oh, thank you. I knew you were the one to ask.
I wondered about some of the letters in the box.
Of course. It appears most of the letters were from fellow students.
One of the letters mentioned Quidditch practice. Did you play?
I did. Was the Ravenclaw Seeker for 3 years. Oh, Merlin's beard. I adore Quidditch. Nothing like the feeling of catching the golden snitch when your team's down by 140 points. I'll never forgive Professor Black for cancelling it this year. I missed cheering for Ravenclaw.
I saw a letter from someone named Mirabelle. Is that Professor Garlick?
It is. Still one of my dearest friends. I know she wouldn't mind you having seen that letter. She and I are of a similar mind, especially when it comes to young people. We believe experience to be an invaluable teacher. To borrow a phrase from Mirabelle, it's a joy to see anyone blossom, but particularly one who doubted they ever would.
I spotted a letter from you to Mrs. Sprottle. You two seem to have a lot of fun together.
We do. She taught me so much during my summers with her and Aidan. I shall be the first to admit that adolescents aren't always the easiest to understand. And not everyone was as kind to me as the Sprottles. But the depth of their kindness, and that of so many of my friends, got me through some challenging times, to put it mildly.
I'm glad I could be of help. Mrs. Sprottle sends her best.
Don't know what I'd have done without her and Aidan. Thank you, again, for helping her, and for returning this box of letters. It's nice to reflect on good memories.
The secret is do the hard work first, and let the easy bits take care of themselves.
My appearance doesn't do trust Augustus Hill's eye when it comes to fashion. Truly. They make up for it. I do wonder if he doesn't try to oversell a bit. I left Glad Rags last week with 4 new hats when I only went in for 3. If only I could invent a new potion, something indispensable, I'd be set for life. Not to worry, I like baking. They don't seem to get along well, do they, Muggles?
I never get a single letter when she's
Like
away.
wizard kind.
Timothy Teasdale seems mild enough, but I suspect he has some interesting stories about his years as an aura. Bit safer when he's around.
What's the reason under the reign of that furious headmaster? Enjoy more than a dram of fire? No, not to press me too much. I'm not above using a blunt.
Get me from up here.
I had plenty of room for
What to say, 100 of us have run at the
that's what the teachers would say.
Oh,
Revelio. Revelio.
Chores aren't so bad.
Revelio. Alohomora. Revelio.
You can't imagine how inconvenient travel was before I invented flu powder.